Master, this podcast has been brought to you by Eugene. There you can from out go.
Will you please listen up to what I have to say? Cause we're in for some old-fashioned wrestling today. Not the violent, oily opposer-ish kind, but the kind that involves pins and thumbs you will find. Cause it's thumb wrestling time. Yes, it's thumb wrestling time. So we will discuss pros and cons, faults and pluses of all your favorite movies. And we will ponder the merits of cinema in this WrestleMania. Cause it's thumb wrestling time. Yes, it's thumb wrestling time. Yes, it's thumb wrestling time.
Hello, pod people! Wow! That's from Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Welcome to episode 28 days later, episode 28 weeks later of Thumb Wrestling, in which I, Ruud Vos, will speak with an interesting podcast about a film about which we completely disagree. And I think you've noticed by now that this episode is in English. That's because my guest is from Turkey, originally. Her name is Tulya Kavaklioglu. I think that's the closest I'm going to get to pronouncing that correctly. But if you're from Nijmegen like me, you might know her as the leader and creative force behind Wow Effect Theatre, doing English language theatre in the Lindenberg. For instance, last year she put on a stage version of The Curious Case of Jekyll and Hyde. And if you're a regular listener and that sounds familiar, that's maybe because you've heard the episode with Piyush before, with whom I talked about Avengers Endgame. He was one of the actors in that play, and in various other plays by Tulya and Wow Effect Theatre. I've seen a couple and I've liked all of them. And also, I've always enjoyed talking with Tulya, so that's why I invited her to come on. And it seems to be musical season on Thumb Wrestling, because recently I did one about Moulin Rouge, and some other episodes about musicals are coming up. Today we are going to talk about maybe the movie musical at least, Grease. A big one, both for John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, who are the stars as Sandy and Danny. And after a summer fling, they meet each other again at school. But, Danny is part of a gang and he has an image to hold up, one that doesn't match with the version of him that Sandy has seen during summer. We sort of follow them around for a year, in which they have an on and off relationship, and there's loads of other high school stuff. Danny's building a car together with his friends, a character named Rizzo thinks she might be dealing with a teen pregnancy, all sorts of stuff, and it's all in the 50s. In the end, love conquers all, and they fly away in a car. Yeah. The movie was directed by Randall Kleiser, who also did The Blue Lagoon and Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Stuff like that. Anyway, maybe it's just best to start talking with Tulya about Grease.
3, 2, 1, fight!
So, yeah, it's a Turkish surname, and it's very common, the ending part, actually. It goes like Kavaklioglu.
Kavaklioglu.
Close enough, I guess. So it means son of someone who had a lot of a particular tree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if you're not trying to labor it and say it in a normal conversation, how do you say it?
Kavaklioglu?
Yeah, Kavaklioglu. No, that didn't go out well, but
yeah.
I'll try and practice it.
You're not the first one to have troubles with pronouncing it, so.
So, Grease. If you would have to give like a small review of that film, like say what it's about for you, what would you say?
For me, it's about people discovering themselves, who they are and who they are in relative to other people around them. And this is what most people do as they are in high school, right? So what do I like, and who do I want to be friends with. Mm-hmm. So Grease is, I think, about that exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's
mostly
the essence.
Just the experience of high school, growing up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, dealing with the pimples and, well, in Greece, we don't see so much about the exams or the school part, really, but fitting in. So belonging to a group, for example, that's pretty important, or being cool, right?
Yeah, that is very important in Greece. And I would say that might be one of the things that rubs me the wrong way about it.
Yeah, but so the way I experience high school, so bullies and mean kids is also a big part of everything, right? So all the characters in Greece, in a bit exaggerated way, of course. So it portrays these different kinds of characters or groups. I think, it represents at least all the different variety of people handling those years.
But I don't see that much variety in the film. You just mostly follow the cool kids, at least a group of cool kids, and then a group of females, a group of males. Mm-hmm. And the rest of them are just basically cannon fodder for them. It seems.
True, but then you also see, what you consider cool kids have their own insecurities and problems, and they're trying to find themselves or connect with each other as well. Yeah. And, Sandy.
Yeah. She's an outlier. That's definitely true. She's being teased for being naive.
Yeah, but so the question is whether it's really her, how she wants to be, or maybe what her family or society shaped her, and maybe she's discovering herself. Because, I mean, there must be a reason why she became friends with Frenchie, right?
Yeah.
Or, joined the Pink Ladies, sort of.
Yeah. It's unclear if she is really completely a pink lady, but I think by part 2 she is one. I haven't seen part 2.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay. So let's not discuss that one. It's reputedly very bad. So.
Yeah, so I never even dared to watch it.
Exactly. I wanted to watch it before the podcast, but I just didn't get the time. I only watched the first one this morning.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
And I watched it. It was only the second time that I saw it in its full. I bought the DVD as a present for my girlfriend because she likes it. Oh, yeah. I just knew the songs and I used to hate them a lot, but I don't do anymore. But when I saw the film and sort of expected, well, maybe it's not as bad as I think it is, it sort of did
still bad.
Rub me very much the wrong way. I didn't like it at all.
Well, that says a lot about you, like, even though I hate this, to make you happy, my girlfriend likes too.
Well, this morning she started watching it with me again, and she sort of began singing the songs along.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I would say that the songs are the strongest aspect of the film.
Yeah. And maybe the dances or the costumes, those like side elements, maybe not the plot.
Well, it is a musical, so they are sort of core elements. But still, it's not the story, so...
Yeah. And for me, I watched it several times as a teen as well.
What was the first time?
When I saw this movie for the first time.
Can you remember?
I think I was maybe 14 or so.
Oh, that's not even that early.
Yeah, no. And I mean, I wasn't really into musicals, I guess, because those were the years I was discovering myself as well. Yeah, exactly. And again, pimples and, being rebellious to your parents, that sort of stuff. So all of a sudden, that was bringing color maybe into my perceptive field.
Yeah.
So that's maybe why I liked it. But yeah, it's been, I think, 10 years now since the last time I saw.
Okay, and you haven't rewatched it for...
No, I did. So I also, in preparation for this, I watched to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you still connected it with it?
I watched with different eyes, I have to say. But in the end, the songs, for example, I also already remember them. Also because... during my bachelor's, so that would be 2008, 11, I guess.
Yeah.
I was in a musical group.
Okay.
And we performed Grease songs. And
just the songs?
Dancing and costumes as well. So,
yeah.
Not the musical itself, but just the song parts. So that was a lot of fun. And that's how I also know some songs better and still in my mind as well. And I do relate to those because of those good days.
But is that mostly a nostalgia thing, or is it do you think if you would see it for the first time now that you would still connect with it? It's a difficult question, but
I would have fun. And again, those like colorful elements.
Yeah.
Like the old cars also, or rock and roll, or, the full circle skirts, that sort of style.
Yeah.
It's still very interesting and I like those things.
Yeah, well, some of them are hip now again with, what do you call the dance? Not jitterbug.
Jive.
Well, there are dance classes now where they do one of those rock and roll dances.
Lindy Hop?
Lindy Hop.
That was the one. It's very popular.
Yeah.
All over Europe, actually.
Yeah.
There are like big gatherings and such.
Exactly. So there's that 50s nostalgia going on right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's sweet. I mean, so apart from those colorful elements, I think still the theme, like I said, discovering yourself. So that never gets old. But in terms of the plot, of course, it's quite simple, and there are some, I'm sure you're going to bring them up, some really weird moments in the movie. So
let's see, if I start bringing up some stuff, you could do a checklist, like, are there things that I haven't even noticed? Because I'm wondering if you're going to say now there are weird moments. Are there things that I have missed that you find weird? So Grease, it started out as a stage show, 1971. Yeah. The first version reportedly was very much rauncier than it turned out to be in the end. Mm-hmm. Especially the movie version is toned down a lot.
Yeah, they changed the opening theme song as well. As far as I know.
They did a couple of extra songs. Some songs were scrapped or just put into a jukebox in the background, stuff like that. Yeah. And some characters were changed around a bit. I mean, also, like, they sang different songs. For instance, the song Grease Lightning, it was supposed to be sung by Kenickie, the Jeff Conaway character. Yeah. But John Travolta said, no, I want that song.
Okay.
So the director did check with Jeff Conaway, who first said no, but then got convinced, all right, he can have it. I mean, due to pressure, probably.
It fits to its voice, I guess, in the end.
To John Travolta. I was wondering if that really is his voice, the deep voice. Yeah. Because other songs, he's singing much higher.
Yeah, well, also, if you look at the character, when he tries out the athletic stuff, he walks around with his comb. So it's, I don't know if it's wrong for me to say this, but it feels like he carries these more female characteristics, let's say. So
yeah, some things also in his dancing and stuff like that.
Complementary thing.
But when he's combing his hair, that's sort of a sign of masculinity. Like when right before they do the duel with the cars, the race. Kenickie asks him, "Will you be my second
co-pilot?"
Yeah, exactly. And they sort of go into a hug, like, we're the best of friends and stuff like that, and then they realize, this is a bit unmasculine. They start combing their hair.
No, but if you also think about the way they walk, the bouncy
the swag
stuff.
And stuff,
for some reason, it doesn't look that masculine to me, but maybe for them that represents the masculinity. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say so. At least I do think so. Maybe in the dancing a bit less, but loads of them are trained dancers, like Travolta. But yeah.
But again, I mean, so they're also maybe discovering those boundaries, right? Like, do I have to belong to this or that side, or these meanings of masculinity or femininity, or what is cool, it changes for each person, right? So all the athletic kids, then they think what they do is the coolest, right? So everybody lives in their own small world, I guess.
Tease them for being brainless.
Yeah. Even Sandy, I guess, in the end.
Sort of, yeah.
So she becomes a bully in a way as well.
Yeah. How do you like the ending?
You mean where they fly off with the car?
I mean, before that, the whole lead up to You're the One That I Want. Like you have the race.
Mm-hmm.
Sandy asks Frenchie, can you help me for a change?
Yeah.
And then she's turned into the bad girl. And
So again, for me, I think Sandy maybe was not that Snow White portrayed in the very beginning, right? So there are several factors that shape a person or how they want to present themselves to the outer world. And so actually her making fun of the guy, the athletic guy she was dating, that sort of reveals maybe how she feels actually about herself and about others. And maybe that's why she became friends with Frenchie or got close to the pink ladies in the first place,
already
right?
felt attracted to that sort of...
So maybe she actually relieves herself from the other sort of pressures. Maybe that's family pressure or I don't know, and finds herself. So it's quite possible, I think. And that's the way I see it.
Yeah, the family is completely invisible, but presumably the way she acts is a bit informed by her family.
Yeah, possibly.
Or at least her youth in Australia, maybe.
Yeah. Although, I mean, again, I don't see things black and white because, Danny also approaches, let's say, more naive or good kid side, right? And
a bit. But in the end, it's her who has to change to get the guy.
No, but in the final scene, so Danny even tells his friends, right? So this is how I will be now, and he's wearing this like school cardigan. Yeah,
at first you have this scene where he's going to try out to be a jock because Sandy's started dating a jock, and he wants to get her.
Yeah,
but he doesn't really seem to commit to it at first. At least everything he tries, he's more concerned with his swagger or not being shown off as a worse athlete, even though you just have to practice and then you get better at it. But he just doesn't seem to want to do that. He just wants to fall into something and be good at it immediately. Maybe. Yeah. So, but that doesn't seem to go anywhere. Last thing you see is trying out for track. He's trying to show off to Sandy, and then he falls, and then you don't see it anymore until the end of the movie when it seems that he has followed through with the track.
Yeah.
But he still says, I'm just doing this to get Sandy back. So it's not really about his own personal development, it seems. And once Sandy pops up, dressed in his style, he immediately
takes it off.
He takes the jersey off, chucks it out.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's all about her changing to suit him and not really him changing to suit her in the end.
Yeah, there is a bit of that. True. I don't deny that. But again, I don't see this as good or bad, maybe, but them having the freedom to be what they want to be, right? So that's even the opening theme, Grace, being who we are and finding that, basically. So maybe if Sandy does find herself, so that's the way I look at it.
That was the way of herself that always was underneath that layer of pristineness.
Yeah, but I mean, so Danny also knows and realizes and apologizes, even regrets apologizing at some point, but he does put on that mask of being cool, of course, right? So he also comes to the realization of that. So yeah, there is some sort of development, I would say.
Okay. Well, there's also a different side of it I haven't mentioned yet, and it maybe ties in more with what you're saying now. That the ending, well, what you would expect is that Danny would be the one who changes, the bad boy turned good, but they made a subversion specifically to make the good girl turn bad.
Yeah, so but good, bad.
That does seem to tie in a bit more thematically with the original stage show than with the movie in the end.
So again, if you look at it, not good, bad, but nerd, or I don't know, like a naive person being the greaser, right? Like the cool kids with a cool image. So she becomes cooler, maybe, in the, from that perspective. Yeah, that's it.
You're a fake and a phony, and I wish I never laid eyes on you.
When Danny's alone with her during the summer, he's a nice guy, and that's why she falls for him.
Yeah.
So that's when he probably is more like himself.
Yeah, probably.
And then when he finds her at the school, he starts acting weird. And she doesn't like that.
Yeah.
But it's all a front, like he's lying to himself, just trying to put up a front.
Yeah,
I need to do this because otherwise I'm not cool.
Yeah.
And in the end, she conforms to that. So that might be what's actually inside her, but we have not really gotten a clue that is what's inside her.
Yeah. So maybe in reality, Sandy is more like a greaser and Danny is more like a
pink lady.
Yeah, well, the boy next door, you know?
Okay, yeah.
That's possible.
Well, he seems to have a nice guy inside of him. There are more times when all the other guys are acting up and doing stupid shit, and he's just on the sidelines, just pining for Sandy, probably, but not being a part of that. Being maybe even too cool for that.
Yeah. I mean, this is also... like, okay, all these kids are concerned with, okay, who likes me, who do I like, and that's all their life anyway. So again, like the opening theme song, it also says, this is a life of illusion, right? So I think, the song we have been talking about, You're the One I Want, so that's not even the ending song, right? So then it comes, We Go Together, and the ending where they fly off with the car, I think it ties up to that, okay, this is a world of illusion, because it's just high school, you know?
Yeah.
We don't know shit.
No, exactly. And they say, well, we'll be together forever, which is
a lie.
Yeah, exactly. I actually wrote that down, that the theme of the movie is lying to yourself.
Yeah, okay, I would agree with that. So yourself... that you're trying to discover is still underneath a lot of layers that you need to go through.
Yeah.
You then pass puberty and, I don't know, stepping into the adulthood.
Yeah.
So that will still take some time. Yeah. So this glimpse we have from people's lives, it's one of the weirdest phases, perhaps, where they, again, like I said, many kids are really mean to each other. Yeah. And this is not only between sexes, but also females being mean to other females, for example, that we also see a lot.
Yeah.
And these were my realities as well. I think when I got bullied, for example.
It seems to be heightened in high school, but still a thing that goes on in adult life.
Well, luckily, I don't have that many bullies around me these days, because then I make the choice of deciding who I want to be friends with.
Yeah, but there are workplaces that struggle with this kind of stuff.
True. Yeah, some people never realize that they are even bullying, actually.
Exactly. Yeah.
So on the one side, I think it's good to have movies, for example, that show a more ideal world or educate, let's say, about these things happening.
Yeah.
But
would you say that this is a more ideal world?
No.
Okay.
No, this is this is on the other side.
Right.
So showing what's really happening, and
that is a harsh world.
Yeah. So these kids are mean and they're doing wrong stuff. Yes. Yeah. So here we show that.
But they also seem to be rewarded for doing that.
Like what?
Well, they get the popularity they crave by bullying others. They're rarely even being shown that they are wrong in that behavior.
No, but again, maybe that's their perception, right? Again, if you ask the jocks, then they will be like, we rock.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a subjective thing, perhaps. And we just see the movie with the
through
focus
the lens of the cool kids.
Well, the greasers, yes.
Yeah, the greasers.
Yeah.
I'm going to call them the cool kids.
Okay.
Because it's an easy way to look at it. But, bullying also sometimes seems to be the main source of comedy in the film.
Yeah.
Especially with Eugene.
Oh, yeah.
He's a sad character, isn't he? He acts happy, but he looks a bit like the clown who's crying on the inside.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can relate to Eugene the most, maybe, because I was one of those dirty kids.
Yeah. And you still like the film?
Well, to be honest, when I got bullied, especially about being a nerd, I didn't really understand why people were saying such stuff or how wrong it was, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, these kids just don't have nothing else to do, so they're like teasing me or whatever. Only now I realize, okay, how wrong it was. I hope these people also learned that those were wrong. But I don't think it ever affected me really or made me sad. I was just like not understanding why these people do that. So with Eugene, maybe it's similar, you know, he's like, hey, we're in high school, we do things together, or we're, you know, group.
Yeah.
But, okay, these kids behave in a weird way that I don't understand. Okay. I mean, they even call him, gay at some point.
Yeah, like
right?
At the dance. Then they say,
that's wrong.
You have to get... we have to have teams of one girl and one boy, and then fix.
Yeah.
Eugene, you... They suggest that Eugene would prefer to dance with a boy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
Well, it's a film from the 70s, so it's not an excuse for it, but it's an explanation for it.
Yeah.
A time
no, I do agree with... we don't have to make excuses for what happened in certain time periods, but it does explain. I mean, so... Also now, for example, certain diversities that we became more inclusive for, maybe we are also now quite limited, right? So in maybe 20 years, people will have an even more advanced and progressed mindset that we will be like, what?
Yeah.
So I can relate to that portraying that. Yeah. So this is a tricky balance.
Yeah.
Also in terms of all sorts of equalities in recruitment, for example, as well, right? So, people are trying to be more inclusive towards women, let's say, in certain positions.
Yeah.
But that's a big question mark that, are we being unfair to the males as well then, right? So it's not, again, black and white.
It's a hard question because we've been unfair to the women for so long that...
Yeah. But again, we are talking about statistics in the end, I guess, and not about people.
Like if they are the most apt for a certain job, you mean?
Yeah. Anyways, this is off topic.
It isn't completely, but...
Yeah, I mean, so there are a lot of these things that are fully wrong, yes, in the movie. I also agree with that. But I also sometimes understand where they're coming from. And again, this is less of a portrayal of an idealistic world than reality.
It's still very much period based. It's made in the 70s, so that already makes it different than something that would be made now. And I think if Grease were made now, it would definitely be different than this is. Or at least more critical of some stuff that is in it. Like if someone says something like that about Eugene, that they are being made out to be the bad guy, even though in Grease it doesn't seem that way. You could say that it's a bit in the middle about that, but those characters are definitely not punished for that. Yeah, I mean,
if this movie came out now, the critique it would receive would be completely different as well, I guess.
Even in the end, it seems that Eugene finally gets his way, like with the pie throwing.
Oh yeah.
He throws the pie
gets his
well.
moment as well.
The coach says, "I like your arm," and then
I want you in my team.
Yeah, the bully just puts a pie into Eugene's face to assert male dominance.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, maybe. But
I'm not going to be outshined by you.
Oh well, that's the frustration, right? So feeling the weakness, and that's how they show it then.
Well, I like that you said that you identify with Eugene the most, because that's also sort of how I feel.
Yeah. Or sometimes with Rizzo as well. Although, she's a mean girl.
Yeah.
But there's certain depth to her character, I think.
Yeah, she seems like she's had to kick at everyone to get her place. Like she started off with a disadvantage, maybe, and that's why she behaves like this. Or
I feel more like maybe she's been hurt before, because about her relationship with men, right, or the romantic relationship. So she says, okay, I could show but not give, right, but that's not what I would do, because I'm, in quotation marks, a nice girl. Or I think about other people. Or about, Sandra Dee versus Doris Day part. So there I feel like, okay, this girl has been maybe heartbroken or went through stuff. So this is just her way of, putting a wall between her and the rest of the world to protect herself.
Yeah. There's also a lot of slut shaming about that character.
True, but I also felt a little bit of envy towards Sandy, because when she says, okay, Sandy is too pure to be pink.
Yeah.
So I don't know if being pure is a good thing anyways, but I feel like, okay,
being pure could also be a thing about lying to yourself.
Yeah, but from Rizzo, and I feel like she can't have it because she's been spoiled too much so far, like already. Yeah. So there's a bit of an envy. She's grown up in a
protective bubble, maybe. Sandy, at least.
Oh yeah, Sandy. Yeah. So she was lucky enough, sort of, right? Yeah, so I feel that envy a little bit as well. And, this sort of depth to, only the mean girl character. Yeah. I do like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, Rizzo sort of seems to start off like a one-note character, but she really isn't by the end, I think. I think she's one of the best characters in the film.
Okay, all right.
But also because, well, one of the things that helps also in that is that she's being slut-shamed by loads of people. When she there's the fear of a pregnancy that travels around very quickly, and she's being made fun of within the same scene.
Is she made fun of?
Sort of. Well, you have a bun in the oven. That's being made fun of, I would say. Also, a redeeming thing about that part of the film, I would say, is that Sandy, her behavior sort of makes up for that, because she is just supportive of her and the things she's going through. Yeah.
So, like Rizzo discovers that being nice is not that bad after all as well.
That too.
Yeah. And that's what the world needs more of.
I'm serious, and don't call me Shirley.
That's also the weird thing about the last song, right? We go together and, they all dance together and are happy and everything.
You wonder if even Eugene is in there.
Yeah,
even though he could never be a part of the whole thing.
Maybe, that's sort of, again, if I talk about my experience of not understanding this, and I still considered the the people who bullied me as, we're friends or classmates or whatever. So is it that sort of ignorance, maybe?
Right.
That is something that people still learn, I guess, in later phases as well. So, it's a lie.
I was, I would say, teased. I felt like being bullied when I was in high school, but later I heard about what other people have gone through. So maybe playing it down to being teased is more apt.
I can also imagine.
But I did at some point find a way of dealing with it, and it was basically to shut myself off from everything, just not to show myself being affected by any of it anymore. And that later turned into being accepted for who I was, at least feeling like that.
Yeah, so that's one thing we discover as well, right? So people we know are not limited to, or the types of characters are not limited to the people we're exposed to in high school. There's a whole bigger world out there, and with whom you can be more yourself, for example, right? So that's a bit of a frustration, I guess, in high school, that you try to conform to the limited things around you. Yeah. And, or, get wrong type of feedback from those people, perhaps. So, yeah, it is a challenge. But this depends a little bit on cultures in different countries as well, I guess.
Probably.
So I would say in Turkey, where I'm from, even in later stages of life, I think teasing each other is more common than what I experienced here or in Germany.
Right.
And that's the sort of feedback I got from my friends, for example, like, if you could please stop doing this, which was normal to me, for example.
Yeah. Calling people out at their, maybe less desirable character traits.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I still do that with my closest friends, I guess. But
they've gotten used to you because they've had enough exposure.
Yeah, we know that we mean well, I guess.
Exactly.
But no, then with the rest of the people, I try to be super careful and being kind. These are the things that one learns later in life a little bit.
Sometimes maybe test the water a bit once you've gotten to know someone, but then also with care.
Yeah. So, I mean, these kids, how old they are now? Like 16 or something?
In the film?
Yeah.
And they're meant to be 16. They don't look 16.
I mean, they never do in series or movies.
No. This is a bit of an extravagant one, but still, Stoker Channing, who played Rizzo, she was 33 when she made the film. So she was twice as old as the character she was portraying.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting in terms of acting as well, I guess. From
John Travolta was one of the youngest people of the main cast. He was only 23.
Yeah, wow, only.
Only 23.
So in terms of culture, I guess, so for example, in Turkey, you wouldn't be able to drive a car at that point as well. Yeah. And so these kids have more freedom and they just go around. Of course, I mean, my dad says he would sneak out in the middle of the night and take his family's car.
Right.
And, they would gather with his friends and just drive around in the city. That's like an awesome thing to do. So
those of teenagers do that.
Yeah. But these kids already have that sort of freedom.
At 16, so that's even earlier. Yeah, so they can't drink, but they can do that.
Yeah, and...
they will try to get drink, but that's a different story.
Yeah, drinking. And in terms of sex, for example, I don't know what the norm was back then. But
50s.
now... Yeah, but now, for example... I think most kids even feel the pressure of having sex, or having that experience before going to college, for example, so that they wouldn't be left out or they wouldn't be inexperienced when they reach to their college relationships or so.
Even though it's just as normal to only have your first sexual experience when you're in college.
Whenever you feel like it, Yeah. But also here, obviously, they make out and stuff a lot in cars, right?
Yeah. The lookout over the city, where the standard thing, But there's also the stage show was raunchier. A friend of mine told me a story which I haven't found support backing that up, but could be true. That in the first stage show in Chicago in 1971, which was the most raunchy version, that there was way more reference to them, explicitly to them having sex, and that the only thing of that really that made it into the movie, except for the condom not not working anymore, is when they're doing Grease Lightning, and he has the saran wrap, the cellophane, and they're dancing with it, wrapping the car on it. But at some point, John Travolta rubs it against his crotch, which is also because in the 50s, if they didn't have money for prophylactics or didn't want to get
really,
they used saran wrap.
Okay.
Because they thought that would help.
Oh.
It didn't.
Oh, well. Try and fail, I guess.
Fail badly and be, assigned to a completely different sort of life than what you envisioned before. Yeah. Probably.
But this reminds me of Sandy not conforming or trying to conform to that sort of pressure, because they also with Danny go watch like a movie from the car, and he tries to touch her boob and she's like, what? No. So she knows how to say no, so that's maybe a good sign.
And she knows how to bring across no means no.
Yeah. Although there's another interesting moment when Danny gives her a ring, right? And she's like, "Oh, now I know you respect me."
And you see his reaction, which is like, very much like, "Yeah, right."
No, but it's not like "yeah, right," but he's like, "Really? Like this piece of metal shows it." So he also doesn't understand that mindset, perhaps.
Yeah, to me, it looked like he wasn't even taking it seriously.
In his way, I guess he was trying his best.
Maybe. Is that really what's in there? Is that what you want to see?
In the beginning of the scene, he's trying to take the ring off of his finger, right?
Yeah.
Does that mean it's something he always wears and meaningful for him as well?
Seems like it.
Or is it
he has trouble getting it off. He doesn't elbow a boob just because.
Then he is trying his best in his own way.
Yeah.
Because I doubt it, maybe he just thought, oh, okay, this is something I have that I can give her. But no, it did
to me, it seemed like he was getting himself out of a difficult discussion about the other girl that Sandy is jealous of.
Oh, were they discussing her before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's after the dance-off where she was carried off by Sunny. And then Danny wins the dancing contest together with Cha-Cha.
Yeah. So that's a big disappointment there as well, actually. But, being a little sexist, that's maybe how men work sometimes. They're overtaken by their hormones, maybe. I don't know.
Probably.
I haven't been fucked like this since grade school.
We are familiar with the discussion of when guys do it, it is a good thing or an accomplishment, and when girls do it, it's like slut or whatever.
Yeah, it's frowned upon at least.
So, I mean, my worldview is, everyone can do whatever they want. It's even not a separation between, boys and girls, because this is also a dichotomy here that we're talking about. There are all sorts of people in the world.
Exactly.
And all sorts of wishes. Also, some people who don't like or want to have sex at all, right? Asexualism. Everything is fine, but,
as long as the ones you're doing it with are fine with it as well.
Yeah. I mean, communication, right? Yeah. Or there are different kinds of relationships as well.
Yeah.
My point was, but it's interesting to exaggerate certain characters or their behavior, I guess, and portray in...
To create conflict.
Yeah.
Stuff
So
like
that makes it interesting. I mean, also in the very beginning, like Danny is shown as... like very exaggerated, and Sandy is shown like Snow White, right? So
even in the cartoon,
Yeah, the bluebirds carry
Exactly,
her
the Disney.
robe and yeah. So it does give these characters more color in the end, having this sort of exaggeration. And okay, with Summer Nights, the exaggeration is between men and women. Yes, so again, it's a dichotomy.
Yeah.
But it makes it, I guess, that contrast interesting to look at. But is it right or wrong? It's a different discussion than
that is true.
Aesthetically pleasing. If you also look at from the perspective of, okay, being pure or naive, so that's also another extreme, right?
Yeah.
And people shouldn't feel the pressure to conform to that. If I want to have sex, then I will have sex. Or if I want to, I don't know, smoke or wear certain types of clothes, then I should have the freedom, or I should feel free to do that as well. Yeah. So I don't think it's only, again, good or bad or towards one side, but those two extremes trying to find the gray ground, maybe.
Yeah.
So looking from that perspective, it's still, there is some constructive message perhaps in there as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When Danny is being ditched in the drive-in, like when Sandy has said no means no, goes off, he starts singing a song.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, that sort of made me think this is a very ridiculous pity party for him. He said he's saying stuff like, you hurt me real bad, but it sort of celebrates him being a dick. Because he says, you hurt me, but... Yeah,
but he says, what will they say Monday at school? Again, he is trying to fit in desperately. Like, I want to show off to my friends, and I won't be able to do that. So it's not even about Sandy in the end, which is the sad part, I think.
Like, he would have wanted to kiss and tell, basically, in blanketed terms.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get to do that, and now he's being sad about it.
Yeah, so, I mean, he is in conflict with his own feelings, so that's his cover story side, right? Okay, I want to show off to my friends, blah, blah, blah.
But he never has to not do that.
Never has to not do that. That's a double negative.
By the end, he still seems to be the same guy who wants to show off to his friends. The only difference is he says, I'm going to be a joke as well. You don't need to follow my example all the time. But
what part of it is showing off?
He's still being the cool guy, isn't he? In his black T-shirt and dancing. He's just won a car competition. So
it's just a cover. Yeah.
But that cover still goes at the end.
Yeah, but okay, there's a trigger for that cover. But even before that, of course, he's wearing the same black sort of uniform, right? Underneath the school cardigan. Yeah. So that's right. But do you think his feelings for Sandy are fake? Or
I don't think his feelings for Sandy are fake at all. But he is unwilling to... at least, or he's too unsure of himself, probably, to just think, I need to do what's best for me and not what's best for my image or for the other kids at school.
No, but if you also think the other way around, he shouldn't change for Sandy as well, right? Changing for another person. I mean...
But he wouldn't change. She's already seen that side of him. And it seems like he's more comfortable in that side. That's his first thing he reverts to when he sees her again. And only when he sees the other kids around him, he thinks, oh no, I should be the cool guy. Mm-hmm. So it seems like the version he was with Sandy during the summer was more him. Yeah. The not changed one. It doesn't seem like he had to change for her to be his summer sweetheart. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if there are then multiple sides to Danny, but if the beach Danny is the real one, then yeah, he is still living under that cover
Well, there is a facet that everyone has more than one personality, and you have to you show different parts of yourself at different times.
No, or I mean, you do carry those different characteristics in you as well. It's not even showing them, I guess, but I can be a nice girl who likes sex, for example. So maybe those things are not contradictory after all, right?
Right. No, I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, no, I would think so as well. I mean, especially, I think we get those binary terms closer to each other nowadays, I guess.
But what you're arguing is that Danny doesn't have to stop being a cunt in school just for Sandy's sake.
No, but so what you wear or what you put on your hair doesn't have to mean you're a cunt.
No, but they are...
I think the main problem is bullying other people.
Yeah.
Or also the locker room talk stuff, right? So that's also... being sexist or whatever, those sort of elements. So, what you wear or sing
But in that case, that means that he can go on not respecting Sandy's privacy during their relationship because he doesn't have to change for her.
No, but again...
Sorry.
I'm
sort of starting to feel like I'm trying to... get you into a corner, which is definitely not what I'm trying to do.
No, but this is the point,
right? At least that's not what I want to do, at least.
No, I also sometimes try to see the best in the movie, although I also see a lot of pitfalls in there, of course. But my point is, so we don't know if he actually stops being a cunt. Because you can, again, still belong to a street gang, right? So that's just a style or a format that unifies them. You can still wear the leather jacket, put grease in your hair, but you can be a nicer guy still. So again...
Can be, but we never see any evidence of that. No, that's the difficulty with this film. So probably he won't be. That's the thing that I would say. But the thing is that Danny, if he seems to be the cool guy because of the way he's like the alpha male of the group. I think that's the way other people seem to treat him.
The people,
but if he would be even, exactly. But he would be even cooler if he wouldn't care about what they thought of him. But that's just always the way he acts, or always the thing that he reverts to when he's being put into that corner, even without other people shoving him into that corner. That's just the thing that he thinks that he should do.
Yeah, so probably it comes from his own insecurities.
Yeah.
Always putting that cover. So same with Rizzo, right? So she's the leader of Pink Ladies, and I think... from her insecurities and trying to protect herself, for example, that cover comes in very strongly. Sort of.
Yeah, she sees a very big contrast in Sandy, and she milks that to ascertain her dominance within the group.
So probably it's a similar case with Danny as well.
Yeah, I would say so, and there's no reason for him to change because Sandy just puts on the black clothes and...
No, but so you think he doesn't change at all?
I would agree. I would argue that he doesn't.
Okay.
Is that all it takes? 15 minutes?
In the end, it's just mostly just stuff to fill the space between songs. So the film mostly just seems like a very long commercial for an album.
I mean, songs are, maybe the most, like the strongest part, of course. Especially, the televised competition, right?
Yeah.
Of course, like rock and roll and jive. So that's... really like interesting and attractive part. Does it add anything to the story other than cha-cha, whatever? It's just another challenge.
You just need a very big dance song where everyone's...
So it is mostly just colorful there and nice. So it's doesn't relate necessarily to the whole theme and the plot in the end.
There's another one who was considered to play Danny. Henry Winkler, the Fonz. but he didn't want to be typecast.
Yeah, okay. I can see why.
He never escaped the typecasting, but, well, not completely. He's doing some other stuff now. He was in the Scream franchise.
Yeah, and this was first time for Olivia Newton-John, right?
I think so, yeah.
Did she play in something else before?
No, she was a musician before, I think.
Oh, okay. And how about John Travolta?
He'd had a big success the year before because he was in Saturday Night Fever. But he only locked into that after he had already signed up to do Grease.
Oh,
so
yeah,
they made that in between.
In terms of music, I guess, so both Saturday Night Fever and a song from this one, they were, I guess, at the top of the lists that year, I guess.
And the song Grease, the first one in the film, that's also written by Barry Gibb, who also did, together with the other Bee Gees, the soundtrack for Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah. They are, it's
pretty much pretty linked. Yeah. Yeah, but also in this is 1978, so Saturday Night Fever was 77, and the year before that he was already in Carrie in one of the larger supporting roles. Also a sort of a school bully.
So is that typecasting as well then? Yeah.
I would have loved in this film to see Olivia Newton-John get covered in pig blood and then starting to murder everyone with her mind. That would have been a good one.
Yeah, that's a different kind of movie, I guess.
So one of the things I always do in this podcast is that the one who attacks the film has to name some improvements.
Improvementazio.
I've written down a couple. First one is not even an improvement of this film, but I would love to see a sort of a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead type version of Grease, entirely from the perspective of Eugene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that would be a nice movie where people are singing in the background all the familiar songs, and he's just standing there.
So, do you think then he would have the feeling of resentment towards these people, or does he still like these people?
I think he would have resentment, but he would have to acknowledge a philosophical point where he is a necessity for the story to progress. He needs to be the fodder for their antics in order for this story to be the way it is. And try to justify it for himself, which is a difficult thing to do, but I think that could make a very interesting movie.
I think...
but it should be done with humor as well.
Yeah, it would be very interesting. I totally agree with that. But I do think... So, like in Mean Girls, for example...
Yeah.
People seem to like mean characters as well. So...
If they're done well, if they're done with a certain charm where you can get on board with them.
Yeah, but everybody knows that that charm is just fake.
Yeah.
But they still want to be like them or, I don't know, be close to these people, right?
Yeah, well, they're popular for a reason. Or maybe he could see the other characters when they're not putting on their show as well and maybe interact with that. That could be good. But now, that's one of the improvements I named.
No, I would definitely watch that movie.
Yeah. Another one is one that we've both probably already seen, and that's No Story, Just the Songs. Just a compilation of the songs. It's not that long. It's fun. It's fine. That would probably be the best version of it. But one which I would think would justify most of the stuff that is in the movie would be it ending up with Danny in a pink dress. That he is the one who changes. I do think it's satisfying and could still be a subversion if he would wear a dress.
Again, I also don't like the idea of him changing. So
it doesn't have to change, just make an effort.
No, but it would be more interesting if they, whoever they are, they just accept that and can still connect.
Right.
So that would even be more interesting. So, I don't know, Sandy brings Danny in his popular ways or greaser ways to her family's house, for example, and then,
Yeah.
sort of breaking those barriers.
I think that would make a very cool sitcom. Taking that boy to her house, but yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's a different story maybe, but I would like to see the world working in such ways. Okay, again, it's maybe more idealistic, but why can't we?
And I'm saying this, and I only just now realized that we actually did get to see Danny dancing in a pink dress, but with a bit more weight and a bit more age. In Hairspray, where he plays a mother.
Okay, yeah.
Where the title is actually a riff on Grease.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. I didn't remember that.
So this is a bad improvement to name because we already got it. Basically.
This is interesting because, we represent two opposite views of the film.
Yeah.
And we both related to Eugene.
Yeah, that is a thing that is a very good takeaway of this.
And a bit of Rizzo, yeah. Because we see more human side of her.
Exactly, yeah. All right, I also asked you to prepare 3 film recommendations for listeners.
Oh, yeah.
Tip 1!
So I did think about musical ones since we're talking about a musical. My favorite one. Many people around me actually know it. It's called Dancer in the Dark.
Lars von Trier.
Lars von Trier, yes. Yeah. And Björk as the leading actor.
Yeah.
I like it because it portrays the difference between reality and dreams in that musical setting so well. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely my favorite.
It's also so good that Björk refuses to work with Lars von Trier ever again. Yeah. Because the harshness of the reality was so harsh that she... Yeah.
But so Lars von Trier is known to be difficult to work with, especially from the perspective of female actors also. Nicole Kidman had a similar experience as well.
Yeah, she didn't return for the sequel to Dogville.
But so I try to keep my perception to what I saw in the product, and not the background. So in that sense, I do like the songs and how the story develops as well, or the stupid naivety of the character that you in the end maybe even relate to. I don't know if this would be a spoiler, but I was crying for 2 hours after watching it, and it was I think 4 a.m. or something when I finished it, and I was like, no. So yeah, enjoy.
Tip 2.
In general, I also do like, I think, discovering these hidden gems, sort of. I then feel more connected to these movies. And another musical or sort of biography musical sort of movie is Sugar Man, or it's called, I think, Searching for a Sugar Man. Yeah.
About Rodriguez.
Yeah. And about his story of becoming so popular in South Africa.
Yeah, during apartheid.
And some of his songs even becoming like, what do you call it? Anthem? Not anthem.
I think it's sort of the right word for it.
Okay, anthems, let's say. And him being completely unaware of this, you know? And apparently there's this rumor going around like, okay, he's dead, and he actually, some people think he shot himself on stage, or, there are different scenarios.
Yeah.
Well, surprise, he's alive. And a third...
Tip 3!
So I've seen The Wall as a kid first.
Pink Floyd,
The Wall, yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought, what an absurd movie, because I was, I don't know how old I was, but I was tiny. So, that, like, even before knowing the songs, really, I saw the movie a little bit, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then, the songs, I went, really deep into them. Yeah. And then or learned more about drugs, let's say, as well. And then watched the movie. So it definitely... so when I listen to songs, I usually imagine visuals together that fits to that as well.
Okay,
and,
you do that naturally.
Sometimes I sort of watch a song, let's say. Or even I imagine putting things on stage. That's how my mind works. That's why I'm in a theater group. And with The Wall, I think it's very musical already, the songs anyways, and visual. So The Wall, Pink Floyd The Wall, then brings a character out of those and then puts you into that world of visuals, you know.
Exactly.
So that's why I also like it and recommend it.
And so we fought and we battled as we beat each other up. Both of us tried hard and we both failed. Yes, I had you by the thumbs, but neither of us won. Only the love for cinema prevailed.
And that is basically it for this time. All right. Thank you for listening. And also, of course, thanks again to Tulya for coming. Tulya Kavaklioglu. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. What I really liked about this conversation was that I beforehand felt like I had sort of the easiest argument to make, but that she really challenged me. She really made me think about what I was saying, about what she was saying, and it was good. It was really good. Not simply just, I just like this. So great stuff. So what can I recommend? Well, I don't think that Little Women needs my recommendation. Seats are filled. It's a very popular film. It is good though. But what I would recommend is Sons of Denmark, or the original title, Danmarks Sønner, which sort of does the same trick as Psycho, that it takes a completely different direction about a third of the way in. But what it starts off with is with a couple of Muslim immigrants in Denmark who are plotting an assault on a very right-wing leader who's becoming very popular in Denmark. I feel that the film is maybe trying a bit too much to also teach right-wing people in real life whilst kicking them as well, which is never successful, but it's a very worthwhile watch. All right, that's it. This has been a cinema production. I have been Ruud, de 20e eeuwse Vos, and I've been responsible for production and the editing. The jingles are, as always, by the genius that is Roy Grutters. You can find us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And of course, hate mail can be directed at the very Dutch email address, Duimpjeworstelen@gmail.com. Duimpjeworstelen@gmail.com. All right, see you Wednesday after next. We go together, dim-da-dam-a-lang-dangling along.
Ladies and gentlemen, could we have an enormous round of applause, please, for our host, who has once again succeeded in bringing to us a plethora of top-notch, cinematographically themed entertainment. We have had an absolute ball, have we not? Next time on Thumb Wrestling.
Ja, ik denk dat het met deze film ook heel erg is van wat verwacht je ervan, weet je wel? Ga je inderdaad heel technisch kijken wat ze met deze animaties voor elkaar hebben gekregen en of het klopt of niet. Mm-hmm. Of laat je in dit geval wederom zoals ik meevoeren in het verhaal en dan heb je niet door of ze wel of geen genitalie hebben of dat de lippen op precies het juiste moment bewegen.
This podcast employs a strict only like and subscribe if you really want to policy. Okay, bye.